It's Wednesday, and you know what that means. It is time for the Greg Cherry Show. Greg Cherry joining you. Matty Laws will be joining shortly, and Jeff is unfortunately out sick. So you just got to deal with me. Yay! What's up, everybody? We got a lot to talk about on this show. A lot of breaking news that happened as far as today goes, but a lot to talk about. How you guys doing? Checking out in the chat. Haven't put the link out there, but if you would like to donate to the show, we would appreciate that.
I'm here,
and there he is, man himself, Matty Law.
Have we talked about the
man?
Jaguars letting the Steelers into the playoffs off of sheer Steeler bullshit?
I mean, we just started the show about 30 seconds ago.
Well, we're here.
No, we have not gone over. We do have a lot to talk about the playoffs. As you saw with the graphic for today's show, don't beat the Jags, because I don't know when NFL teams will learn not to mess with the terrible towel.
Dude, it's not just the terrible towel. It's not just the terrible towel. Just don't mess with a team's tradition. You don't walk across the star in Dallas. You don't fucking fuck with the terrible towels. You just don't do it. You are playing with the football gods, and they are not just gods.
I mean, about 15 years ago, the Titans stomped all over the terrible towels on their way to, I believe, a number 1 seed, and they were out in the divisional round, and the Steelers won the Super Bowl. So I'm not saying that this is a Steelers Super Bowl caliber team by any stretch of the imagination. What I am saying, though, is there's a reason the Jags are sitting at home and the Steelers have got a 1:00 game on Sunday.
Yeah.
The Jags were, ever since that Steelers game, the Jags went 3-6 down the stretch. They had the number 1 seed in the AFC at one point.
At one point, yes.
Yeah. And they missed the playoffs completely.
Yeah,
that's a collapse.
That Jaguars team absolutely fell apart.
Yeah.
Horribly. And Trevor Lawrence looked hurt. Like, he looked like he was playing hurt still.
And people are blaming Trevor Lawrence for their downfall during the season. It was more than Trevor Lawrence. Let's be honest. It was far more than Trevor Lawrence, who was recovering from an injury, by the way. I feel like
him and Joe Burrow fell into the same category this year, I feel.
Both
the Bengals and Jaguars should have done better.
If Lawrence was fully healthy, they might have had more of a shot against the 5-11 Titans. But the Titans just dominated that game. And maybe it was their apology for 15 years ago. Be like, okay, we're sorry we did this. We won't do it again. But yeah, it's one of those things that you don't want to mess with karmic stuff like that in sports. You just don't. And people like to tempt fate thinking they're immune, and then they realize they're not.
The Steelers have who in the wild card?
Buffalo. Which...
Oh, that's right. In Buffalo, weather is supposed to be absolutely dog shit for that game.
Yes, it is. It's supposed to be high winds, lots of snow. So that actually might benefit Pittsburgh, because Josh Allen is not going to be able to throw as much as he normally does if that's the case. And Allen,
Stephon Diggs probably don't want to play.
Yeah, and if you lose one of your big receivers for any reason whatsoever, it's not going to be a good day. So it might just be a battle on the ground. It might be an ugly game, and it might be a game that the Steelers can win because of those conditions.
I don't know. I have my money on Pittsburgh for that game.
There you go. I mean, they were given, 10 points? It was plus 10 the last time.
Yeah, the spread is 10.5 points.
Yeah, if I were you and knowing what the weather's going to be like Sunday, I'd put money on that now because I don't know.
Put money on that spread because it's going to drop. The spread is going to drop come game time.
Yeah, it might be the Mud Bowl all over again with Pittsburgh and Miami. It might be that kind of game. I don't see it being high school at all. But
with as cold as it is out in Buffalo, the snow should stick. So if it's as heavy as you said it's going to be, I'm really hoping it's not another Lions. Was it Lions Packers?
Maybe.
But you know the game I'm talking about, the ridiculous snow game that we had like 6 years ago.
Yeah. Well, they said lake effect snow, so it's very possible that it could be that type of ridiculous game. Because lake effect snow, as I should know because I've had to drive through it, is nothing to be trifled with. It could be anywhere from like 6 inches to 3 feet of snow, and it's Buffalo, so it'll probably be the latter.
Yeah, I was going to say you can get up to the latter for sure in Buffalo. And another game that's going to be heavily affected by the weather is the Chiefs hosting the Dolphins.
Yeah, Zach is saying that it's supposed to be -6.
Yeah, -6, -5, and 22 mile per hour wind gusts. That means that wind chill might bring that game down to like -20.
Yeah, I don't think Chiefs Kingdom might not show up a lot. You're going to have a hard time getting people out in that. Unless
Chiefs fans are fucking crazy, Greg.
I believe it. They're going to be bundled up.
They're going to be out there.
3 layers of like long underwear or some shit, and
they're going to be just as loud as they have all season long, man. It's Chiefs Kingdom is crazy. I got my money on Miami in that game stupidly, but I
don't know if it's stupid though, because Pat Mahomes has not been the Pat Mahomes that we're used to. It's not the two-time.
He's not that good in the cold either.
So those things combined, we are Captain Planet. It's one of those things that I don't think that it's going to amount to a good day for Kansas City. But Miami's used to playing in Miami, so that's going to be a brutal game for everybody involved. On Peacock exclusively, which a lot of people are bitching about.
If ever people wanted a reason to subscribe to like Peacock, subscribe to what else is got streaming games? Does Prime have a streaming game for the playoffs?
Yeah. I don't think Amazon Prime does. They just have the Thursday night games, so I don't think they're covered under that.
But if ever you need like a reason to get Peacock, we as wrestling fans, we have it. But you're also getting Sunday Night Football from NBC, and now you're getting a couple playoff games, and I believe next year the Super Bowl.
They're going to have the Super Bowl on a streaming app next year?
I believe so.
That is ballsy, man.
Let me see.
I feel like that's dangerous territory to try and do that. Like, I know it'll bring in a ton of viewers, especially with the teams that are going. It's like, I'm not going to watch the Super Bowl. It's on a streaming app. Guys, this is the way of the future, unfortunately, and that's the way it's going to be. Again, for us wrestling fans, not going to mean a hill of beans because we subscribe to it already. So it's basically, what's the difference?
So it will be streamed on a streaming service this year. It is not Peacock, but it is on Paramount Plus and CBS.
Well, if it's on regular CBS too, then it's not going to be that big of an issue. But like people traveling and stuff that have Paramount Plus and will watch the Super Bowl, that's going to be their thing. I don't think you take it off of quote unquote free TV without some severe backlash. But
yeah, I don't think you take it off of like main TV, especially if you do it on Peacock, because it's still tied to NBC.
Yeah.
So you can still have it on NBC as well as Peacock, just like they're doing with CBS and Paramount this time around.
Well, my big thing with that is, can you imagine the cost of the ads skyrocketing from what it already is for the Super Bowl if it's on a streaming app? Because they're going to want to make up for all the people that aren't watching.
The main one that I think of, and it's very possible that we see the Super Bowl on it in the next couple of years, would be Prime. And the only reason I say that is they've got the money to be like, hey, we can hold the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And you can make hella money off of Amazon Prime. People are already going to be on the app, so why not buy some of the shit that they're promoting on the Super Bowl commercials?
Yeah. People bitching about Prime, like Amazon is, I don't want to say it's almost a necessity these days, but I mean, I'm pretty sure the delivery drivers know us by name for how much stuff we get from Amazon. So, having the streaming service for Thursday night games is no skin off my back. You know what I mean? I don't know. Doing the Super Bowl on it, Prime might be the best option. But a lot of people are going to complain. It's like, oh, man, we have to spend like...
Oh, dude, people are going to bitch regardless. Because then you get the people that solely stream, and they're bitching about the fact that they're not getting the ability to see it readily.
Yeah. It's an interesting time in the TV world.
Hell, we can kind of tie that into the fact that Raw may or may not be on Amazon in the next year or so. Uh-oh. Greg. There he is.
We just lost all our power for like the third time in 24 hours.
What is there a storm going through Pennsylvania right now?
Our power's just shitty, man. It might be the wind, but I don't need this now. So frustrating. It happened last night while we were sleeping. It happened at like 4 a.m.
Just the power shut off. Did you guys have to go flip breakers and shit, or?
No, we didn't have to flip breakers, but like our fan turned off, the lights in our bedroom turned on, woke us up. Might have to make a call to the electric company. If this happens next Wednesday, I'm gonna be super pissed.
Oh yeah.
But hopefully, like the heavy winds and shit is done by like this weekend. Because we had a major like windstorm WrestleMania weekend, and we had zero power to anything. I had to watch.
You couldn't watch anything.
I had to watch WrestleMania 39 on Jen's one tablet, and like
off of a hotspot.
Off of a hotspot, yeah. And we didn't get our power back till probably about 3 a.m. Sunday morning. So we had to shower in the dark with like flashlights and stuff.
You guys at least had running hot water?
Yeah, we did. So that was a plus.
Okay.
But so frustrating that this keeps happening. Fortunately, right now I'm on my phone, so if the power goes out, the show will still go. But
it'll just get dark.
It'll just get dark in here. Undertaker showing up. I do want to talk about this, and that's the fact that Nick Saban is retiring from the University of Alabama. He will no longer be their head coach, and that is a huge news story in the world of college football.
Do you see him going to the NFL with all of these coaching spots opening up?
He said he was retiring. He's not leaving per se. He said he was retiring. So I don't think he wants any coaching job.
JJ tripping on a clean-shaved Matty.
He's just making sure he doesn't have strawberry in his beard next week. That's what it is. Which is very.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
I mean, would you really want strawberry dripping through all this? You know,
it would have been one hell of a visual.
It would have been. I joked with Daisy. I joked with you guys too that I'm going to remix everybody getting punished with the Brutes music just because it'll be a funny visual.
Oh fuck yeah, dude!
But yeah, Nick Saban is retiring. Pete Carroll is no longer coaching Seattle.
So he is going from head coach to an advisor role, if I've read that correctly from Ian.
Yeah, that's what it is. He's staying with the organization, but he's not going to be the head coach anymore. So that's going to be an interesting thing over in Seattle. What else happened? The coach of the Bears is staying.
Matt Eberflus sticking with the Bears.
And that's why I tweeted either earlier today or whenever they announced that news, I just tweeted at Rollins and said, I hate football. Because do you expect any long-term success with Eberflus as your coach, especially if Justin Fields is gone? Not saying that he's the answer at quarterback, but what are you doing in Chicago?
Oh, Luke Getsy, offensive coordinator for the Bears, got fired 45 minutes ago.
I know who else got fired. New York Giants defensive coordinator Wink Martindale is out.
Surprisingly, like it wasn't the defense's fault that the offense was giving up record number of sacks this year.
Yeah, and I feel
Mike Vrabel got fired.
Yeah, Vrabel got fired, which was I know the Titans didn't have a good year, but he's led the Titans to some success.
Riverboat Ron as well.
Yeah, Ron Rivera getting fired.
Belichick still in at New England for the time being.
Yeah, I'm surprised that he hasn't made an announcement because that was pretty well discussed during the season that this would be Belichick's last season in New England, but there hasn't been anything said. Zach is asking who gets the job in Alabama, Fisher, Carroll, or Harbaugh.
Harbaugh's going to the NFL.
You think Harbaugh is still?
I think Harbaugh's going to the NFL, and I've got one team for you. The Chargers. It is a ready, set, ready-made team that's got talent, that's got weapons, that's got draft picks. He just needs control.
There have also been rumors, none like substantiated, that Mike Tomlin could be stepping away from the Steelers after this season. I don't know if there's any facts to that.
I don't see it happening this year.
They said this year. They said after the playoffs. And it wouldn't be like the Steelers asked him to leave. It would be Tomlin taking a step back and being like, I need a break from this shit.
Also, someone who's not confirmed to stick around. Antonio Pierce, interim head coach for the Raiders, someone that turned their season around after getting rid of McDaniels.
Yeah. I have no idea where Josh McDaniels is going to go.
He's going to be an offensive coordinator somewhere, man.
Yeah, he'll probably get some kind of assistant job or whatever, but he won't be a head coach. That's for sure.
McDaniels might get that job out in Chicago under Eberflus.
I mean, maybe.
Mike Vrabel, I see it in the chat, and I've been saying it since I heard that he got released. If Bill Belichick leaves, I want to see Mike Vrabel in New England.
I mean, that's probably what's going to happen. You know who I want to see in, and he's a coach that got released this season, and he has made a name for himself. I'll wait till Maddie's off the phone because I got to build this up because I have a lot of belief that this person could make some major impact in New England. Give me 1 second. Oh, crap. That doesn't go anywhere. Ugh. We'll talk about it in a second. While I got you, next week, I don't have the graphic uploaded. Where is it at? This is the beauty of live programming. There it is. Luck of the Draw special edition is happening next week. So if you enjoyed the episode of Luck of the Draw back in October, which was definitely one of the more fun episodes that we've ever done, then
yeah,
go check that out. That's going to be some good stuff. I was bringing up, and yes, JJ, I will hype up the Rumble Draw because that's happening the week after Luck of the Draw. So the Rumble Draw is happening on the 24th, which I don't know if Jeff put that in here or not. It does not look like it. But it's fine. I'll have to put it in. But yeah, the Rumble Draw is happening on January 24th, a live episode of the Greg Cherry Show. And we have 23 out of 60 entries so far for that. We still got a couple weeks to go. So if you want to participate, get your money in. If we haven't had the spots filled by Luck of the Draw next week, I may open it up. Because I know people like to do the multiple entry stuff for the men's and for the women's, and we're raising money for a good cause. So I figure the more people we get involved, the better it will be. And I typically don't like to open that up because I want to get as many people involved as possible. And sometimes it's hard, especially with a channel like this, which doesn't have the reach that a lot of other channels do. But we're still trying out here. We're still trying to do good stuff. And we're raising money for the 988, which Maddie's done a lot of good work over on the Raw Ball side of things, raising money for them as well.
Always something I'm happy to support and help with.
Yeah. But I was saying before you got your call that there is a coach out there that I feel like would be a good fit in New England because wherever he goes, he will definitely make a major impact. And it was a coach that was released earlier this season, and he goes by the name of Matt Canada.
Greg's out here going, I fucking hate the Patriots. So you know what? I wish the worst possible thing on them.
I tried to get through it without laughing, and I couldn't do it.
Oh, I thought you were going to lead me on a good trip there. I thought you were going to be like Frank Reich or something like that. Nah, hit me with Matt Canada.
Yeah, exactly. Just because I like to see chaos reign supreme in the city of Boston. Yeah, I have no idea who's going to go to New England. Like we said, Vrabel's a good choice. Ron Rivera's not coaching the Commanders anymore, so they got to fill the vacancy.
I think Ron Rivera takes a defensive coordinator spot somewhere. I don't know if he stays as a head coach.
Probably not. Also on the lookout, the Steelers are going to want to but they're going to want to select a full-time offensive coordinator. And
Wait, you mean Bill O'Brien wasn't the full-time?
I shudder to think that they're just going to promote from within again, which maybe that's a Tomlin thing. I don't know what that is. That is like, we have everybody we need in-house. Do you? Because you haven't won a Super Bowl in 15 years. You can't keep saying you have everybody you need when you haven't even made the Super Bowl since 2011.
We got our pieces. Do we?
Yeah.
It's like being a Broncos fan. I think we've got our pieces. We've got Jarrett Stidham, and I'm hoping for him to make a spark. He hasn't sparked fucking shit in 4 seasons.
Zach is saying hire Hines Ward as your OC. I mean, Hines was coaching in the XFL, and I think, I
think he did pretty well.
I don't think he's coaching there anymore. I think he got released or termed or whatever.
Yeah, they didn't pay him. Hines Ward coaching. No, he's being courted for a college coaching job. Texas Southern.
Texas Southern. I'm surprised he's not going to his alumni with Georgia to see if they can make another national title run.
His record in the XFL was 3-7.
Oh, okay. Who knows? I would like to see an offensive coordinator who knows what they're doing, who can actually put together a good game plan and use the talent that they have. That's what I want to see. I don't know who that's going to be for Pittsburgh, but I hope that's something they decide to chase in the offseason, because in past years they haven't. I mean, they lost out on Brian Flores, which is their own damn fault, for defensive coordinator. But hey, I got nothing. What other big news was there in sports?
John Gruden potentially becoming a head coach for the Saints while still suing the NFL.
That is.
You said what other weird news was there?
Yeah, I was going to say, does the NFL even want to take that chance to have Gruden back under their auspices? It seems like a bad decision all around.
Roger, I know I called you an anti-football pussy, and I know I'm currently suing the NFL. But if you let me head coach for the Saints, I'll drop all of that right now.
I mean, that's one way to get a job, I guess. It's not the best way, for sure, but they want to hire him as an assistant to coach Derek Carr. Listen, I know John Gruden's got some Super Bowl history behind him, but I feel like Gruden in today's NFL just doesn't work.
Jesus, fuck. So, just 3 years ago, I believe, it was either 3 or 2 years ago, John Gruden was coaching for the Raiders before the emails and everything leaked. That was arguably one of Derek Carr's best seasons, and the Raiders went 12-4.
Yeah.
In the modern NFL, John Gruden totally knows how to run a team.
I mean, I guess he could prove me wrong.
I just don't know if it's the Saints.
I don't know if...
I don't know if the Saints are redeemable.
Yeah, the Saints would need to march out. That's what would need to happen. If you get what I'm saying. There's so much coaching going on. It's only the 10th of January. We haven't even started the playoffs yet. And all these coaching decisions in both college and the NFL are all over the place. We knew that eventually Nick Saban would have to retire. And if Saban leaves Alabama and Belichick leaves New England in the same year, my Steelers Notre Dame heart is going to explode with just joy. Because pains in my ass on both sides of the spectrum. Sick of Alabama, sick of New England. If they both leave, maybe Alabama will go back to being a 3-9 team again. And it will just be glorious for everybody involved. It's like, okay, good. We can shut up about the Crimson Tide for the foreseeable future. Just please let that be the case.
But what if the team is still good?
I mean, if the team's still good, the team's still good. It'll be a very frustrating thing, but yeah, it is what it is. So let's talk about
Allen's still head coach. Bobby Slowick could be dark horse for Commanders. Continue, Greg.
I was going to say, let's talk about luck of the draw next week, because that is going to be a fun
Six
time.
people.
6 people. Yes, that's correct. It's going to be Jeff defending his title against you and Daisy, who participated last time, but we're also getting Xenia, who's on Jack of All Trades. We're getting Collins, who's been on the Greg Cherry Show before, and we're getting Caden, who's also been on the Greg Cherry Show. It's going to be a very interesting experience. I like taking the game outside of our little group to see how far it can spread. You know what I mean?
I just hope, because I think the last time I saw Xenia, she had blonde hair.
Listen, I have played this game using strawberry syrup on blondes before.
Does it die?
No.
Okay, then we're good.
If you wash it out right away, it shouldn't be a problem. If you leave it sit, it could possibly, but if you shower pretty quickly, it's not going to have any effect.
Okay.
Either that or she'll be strawberry blonde. It'll be fine. Hey, that's a color. Well, think about it, too. Daisy's blonde, too. Collins isn't, but...
yeah, and Daisy's not a brunette now, so...
Yeah. Yeah, especially after the chocolate syrup. She could have been, but she's not. So I don't think it'll be too much of an issue. It does come out a lot faster than the chocolate. The chocolate is very thick.
Yeah, the chocolate's a lot more viscous.
Yeah. Strawberry syrup comes out very quickly. So that will be something to consider when you guys are doing the punishments. And I'll have you guys on before that to talk about it. But as somebody who has played Luck of the Draw before and now knows what it's all about, I want your opinions. Because, I mean, you suggested doing the strawberry syrup. So I want your thoughts on expanding the game in the future.
Egg catapults.
I meant as far as like promoting the game in the future and like get new people in, not different ways you can hurt yourself through it.
I misunderstood you, Greg.
Anyway,
I feel like, with us having more people, 6 people participating this time around, it's just a matter of us having them help us reach out to wider audiences. So use the reach from them to reach out, get other people involved.
Mm-hmm. And the nice thing about it is this game is not like exclusive to wrestling fans.
No.
This game is all encompassing. Like, you can be a wrestling fan. You don't have to be a wrestling fan. You can be somebody who doesn't even know how to play cards. If you just want to show up and have fun, that's all you need. That is all you need to play this game. But,
plus a water bottle, 3 eggs, and syrup.
Put on your head. But yeah, if you have all those things, that's all you need. I take care of the knowledge part of it, so you guys don't even have to think. You just choose cards, dump stuff on your head when you lose, and that's all. It's a very simple concept.
Also, I'm going to put warm water in my jug this time around.
Probably a smart idea. Because I'll tell you what, the cold water, especially now that it's winter.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's going to be mid-January.
Yeah, and I know here in the next week or so, we're going to be hitting some pretty cold temperatures. So
this Sunday, it hits -8.
Yeah, so... Yeah, warm water would be very good. Don't make it boiling because you don't want to scald yourself on there.
Well, I'm putting it in a thermos, so yeah.
Yeah, temperature check that before. Some people are asking, Drake May or Caleb Williams, who will be a bigger deal in the NFL? And thoughts on Caleb Williams wanting ownership if you draft him. The Caleb Williams thing, wanting ownership, we've talked about a number of times on this show.
Caleb Williams, to the second fucking round. Drake May, I have not seen enough on, so I genuinely don't know. But from what I have seen on Caleb Williams, because I have been paying attention to him, he was the big talk of the town this year.
Yeah.
Very disappointed if that's what people are wanting to see in like the top 5 of the draft.
Caleb Williams is going to be a bust. I'm calling it now.
Oh yeah.
If
he couldn't handle losing this season, imagine if he gets drafted to a team like what Bryce Young has to deal with.
USC started this 6-0. They finished the season 7-5. The downfall of that, and it brings me so much joy to say this, was them losing to Notre Dame 48-20 in South Bend. So, seeing how he doesn't deal with losses very well, he doesn't rebound from them. He sulks. And you can't do that if you want to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. You have to want to improve. You have to want to get better so that won't happen to you in the future.
Look at Bryce Young. He's busting his ass to try to do better in this league.
He is.
And he's getting his ass beat for it, but
at least he has that fight. I don't see that fight in Caleb Williams. I see a lot of cockiness. I see a lot of arrogance. I see a lot of ego. I don't see Caleb Williams having a long career in the NFL. Could he prove me wrong? Absolutely.
And we would love to see that.
Maybe somebody will use this as a clip, as a talking point or something. That like, hey, I don't think Caleb Williams is going to be everything that they want him to be. He's not going to be like the Cadillac of freaking NFL quarterbacks. I think unless you put him in a system like San Francisco or something, or someplace that has like an established team around him, you put him on like the Panthers or the Bears or even the Titans. If you put him like on any one of those teams, he's not going to do well.
Davey has a great point. Caleb Williams could be the next Johnny Manziel.
Yeah, and quite frankly, I thought Johnny Manziel was overrated, and that had nothing to do with the fact that he played for Cleveland. Absolutely nothing.
Caleb Williams is Jamarcus Russell. Sorry, not sorry.
I don't know if I would go Jamarcus Russell that far.
I don't know. We'll wait until the sophomore season if he puts on 100 pounds.
Yeah, I think Caleb Williams has big bust potential. And
I also think Marvin Harrison Jr. is the best player in the draft, which is insane that a wide receiver is the best player in the draft.
He's got his dad's genetics, so it's.
And again, Drake May, I do wish I had seen more on him this year. I saw more on J.J. McCarthy and Michael Penix Jr. than I saw on Drake May.
Yeah, I saw more of Sam Hartman, but I also follow the Irish. So, I did not see a ton of Drake May, but I think he could be decent, but I don't think he's going to be anything spectacular either. I don't see a quarterback in this draft that I would hang my hat on for the next decade.
And Denver's going to draft one.
Watch Denver draft Caleb Williams.
Greg.
Listen, I could be wrong.
I am
incredibly wrong.
I am streaming the NFL draft night 1. If we draft Caleb Williams, you are going to see an absolute look of defeat in my eyes.
Zach is saying Joe Alt, who's a lineman for Notre Dame, is going to be a top 5 pick, as he should be. Joe Alt is the best offensive lineman in the country.
Joe Alt is this man's name.
Yes.
This is the most random number-generated name I've ever heard of.
But I'll tell you what, he does not allow pressure. He is an incredible offensive lineman. So losing him to the NFL sucks for the Irish, but whoever picks him up, I'm telling you what, the Irish have so many damn good players in the NFL. Kyle Hamilton is showing out this year. Kyron Williams of the Rams is showing out this year. People are sleeping on the talent pool in South Bend, and they need to stop because there's a lot of it there.
Mike Nixon, I truly think Marvin Harrison is going to be better than his dad. Denver grabs J.J. McCarthy. He's a Sean Payton type. You're not wrong there.
It really depends. You never know because you never know who's going to be taken off the board.
Yeah, I don't think J.J. McCarthy is going to be up there until the 12th pick. Because there are so many other quarterback-hungry teams out there.
I agree. I mean, they could always trade.
Don't say that. I don't want to get rid of Patrick Surtain.
Here's my thing. I never like to do fantasy drafts or fantasy, like the NFL fantasy draft, because by the second pick, the entire order could be thrown off because people like to trade up in the first round to try and get who they want, and then it screws up everybody else for how they're going to draft.
This year's draft was insane, night one.
It was. The Steelers traded up for Broderick Jones, which I think has paid them dividends because their offensive line has improved.
Something you guys needed.
Yeah, we still need a center. Mason Cole is, I don't know.
What are your honest thoughts on Mason Rudolph 3 weeks in?
Well, he hasn't lost, so I like him. He's the best quarterback of the three that we have. And it goes Mason Rudolph, big gap, Kenny Pickett, even bigger gap, Mitch Trubisky. Kenny Pickett is a game manager. He doesn't turn the ball over, which is good, but he doesn't produce many points. Mitch Trubisky just produces losses.
Oh, yeah, no, Mitch Trubisky is horrible.
Let me put it this way. Any game that Trubisky played in was a loss for the Steelers. Whether he came in relief or he started, the Steelers lost those games.
Greg, how come you didn't tell me that there was a kid in Alabama named Kool-Aid McKinstry?
Yeah, Alabama Crimson Tide has a player named Kool-Aid McKinstry. Yes.
Kool-Aid.
Kool-Aid. Yes, that's his name. Don't look at me. I didn't name him. But he is a very talented player. So we'll see if we'll see where he lands in the draft. It's going to be a very interesting draft coming up.
Kool-Aid.
You can't get over that.
I've heard some stupid names in my lifetime.
Listen, I mean, there have been players that have had nicknames that are over the top and ridiculous. I mean, look at Chad Johnson calling himself Ocho Cinco, which isn't even the proper number organization for 85.
No.
Then he changed his name legally to Ocho Cinco, which is just 85. It's not even 85.
No, it's not. Oh, lordy.
But yeah, I like Rudolph because out of the three, if I had to compare them to Ben Roethlisberger, he is the most Ben-like. But Ben was also there for like 3-4 years before he retired, and Mason's been on the team for a few, so he has that ability that Kenny Pickett doesn't have, and I'm just glad Trubisky's gone after the season. There's no reason to re-sign him to any more years.
Oh, no, that's a horribly good segue into my issues.
Well, go for it.
We have no idea what the fuck's going on, Russell.
I heard, and I know Justin Fields is the topic of conversation, that he's out in Chicago. And there are a lot of places that are saying that the number one landing spot is going to be Pittsburgh.
Would you be okay with Justin Fields?
I
think I asked you this 2 weeks ago.
I feel like Justin Fields would be an interesting addition to the Steelers QB line. I think he offers something that the other quarterbacks don't, and that's mobility. Whether or not I think the answer at quarterback is another thing. I would not mind having Justin Fields on the. I'm just concerned about his production. I think he's got. The Steelers have good weapons at receiver. I mean, you got Calvin Austin, you got George Pickens, you got Deontay Johnson, who came alive this season because he didn't score a touchdown at all last year. Thanks, Canada.
Thanks, Canada.
But you have all of them, and I mean, you have Freiermuth too at tight end. You have all those weapons, and you have the ability to be mobile on top of it. I think Justin Fields could be a good fit, but you also need the right offensive coordinator. So, because you can have all the pieces to a good team, but if you don't have somebody to put them together, it's not going to make it's not going to make a damn bit of difference.
Mm-hmm.
Warhawk Rambo's asking if Joe Alt would make a good addition to the Commanders line. Joe Alt would make a good addition to any line.
Especially since you guys added Montez Sweat to your team this year. Yeah.
I think Joe Alt, wherever he goes, and you look at other offensive linemen who have had great success from the Irish in the NFL. The first one that comes to my mind is Zach Martin, who plays for Dallas. Zach Martin's an incredible offensive lineman, and I'm sure Jeff would be doing backflips if Joe Alt somehow went to Dallas and you had Martin and Alt on the same offensive line. I mean, that would be ring number 6, because there's no excuse for Dak Prescott to have anything but success behind that line. I don't know. I don't have predictions for where these people are going to go. We can have all this discussion, but it's not going to matter until the actual night of the draft, because teams can trade up for whoever they want. Would I like to see the Steelers trade up and get Broderick Jones and Joe Alt on the same line? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Absolutely would. I'd prefer a center, because Joe Alt's not a center, but I would prefer.
Could you move him to center?
He never really played that position. So I would rather have a guy who has played center before.
Understandable.
I don't know if you move Mason Cole to a different part of the line or, waivers. I don't know what you want to do with him, but he is not the answer at center. And when you come off a guy like Marquise Pouncey, who was just an absolutely stellar center for Pittsburgh, you're not going to replace him overnight.
No.
And that was proof positive.
In terms of baseball, it's like a great catcher. You don't just replace them overnight. Like the Yankees took a long time to find someone who's a decent replacement for Posada. Yeah, Red Sox still haven't found one for Veritek.
I mean, you look at Jorge Posada, and it's like trying to find a decent pitcher or a decent closer. And you look at Mariano Rivera. Has there been a better closer since Rivera left the Yankees?
No. Has there been a better closer in the MLB since Mariano Rivera left? Hard to argue.
But anyway, yeah, we got about 10 minutes left in the show. I do want to plug again Luck of the Draw for next week. It is my brainchild. It has been hard to believe almost 15 years since the first playing of the game. The first playing of the game happened in June of 2009, if you can believe that. So being able to do this 15 years later with a good group of people is just amazing. And I hope everybody tunes in next week. We won't talk football, which is amazing because the Steelers are in the playoffs by some miracle. And we won't.
Greg's just happy that he doesn't have to watch the game.
I mean, I'll watch the game, but if it's anything like last time, I was playing Luck of the Draw coming off a disappointment loss of Notre Dame to Ohio State. So I'm hoping I don't have that similar fate. I'm hoping I can talk about the AFC Championship come the 31st, but we'll see, because next week is Luck of the Draw, so that is going to be the only thing happening in this game. And then the following week is the Royal Rumble draw, which if you guys haven't checked it out, I have the video on my Twitter, I have the video on my YouTube, and on my TikTok. Find me one of those places, you will find the video. At Greg Cherry Brand for all of them. Find the video, find the rules, because we have so many spots open. We have 37 spots still open of the 60. So if you want to donate to the 988 and play a fun game for the Rumble, it's $5 an entry. You can get one entry for the men's, one entry for the women's. So it's an easy $10. That's what I think. And plus, if you win, you get a share of the prize pool. If you win the men's Rumble, you get 25% of the prize pool. If you win the women's, you get another 25% of the prize pool. And then 50% of that pool goes to the 988 for a charitable donation. And you are free also if you decide, because it's your winnings, if you want your winnings to go to the 988, just let me know. That's where they'll go. We'll go directly to them. I am not making a dime from this, unless, of course, my number wins, which it hasn't since I've done this. So,
nobody's won both Rumbles either yet, have they?
I don't think anybody's won both Rumbles. Last year, Daisy's husband won the women's, and Big G, I think, won the men's, if I got that right. But we'll see. We'll see this year. And I'm kind of hoping this year that WWE doesn't do the trope of 1 and 30 winning. It's like, have somebody in the middle win it.
They won't do that again this year. They can't do it again this year.
In the last 3 years, they've had number 1 win twice and number 30 win twice. Number 30 won the men's Rumble 2 years in a row. Like,
yes.
This is a Triple H control Rumble, so I'm hoping. I still feel like there was some lingering Vince in the last ones, even though those are decent Rumbles. I'm hoping there's better stories with these Rumbles this year. I'm hoping for a lot of fun. Warhawk says have a random number like 11 win. 11's never won, so that would be good. Fill out some spots that have never won.
Has 15 ever won?
15 has never won. No, 15 has never won. 16 has, 17 has, 18 and 19 have. 14 has, but I don't think 15 has. 13 has as well. So you've had winners from 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 10, 13, 14, 16, 17, 18, 19, 22.
20.
No, not 20.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. 22, 23, 24, 25, 27, 28, 29, 30.
Damn. The fact that it's been going for so long and we haven't filled out a winner for each number is still baffling.
Especially since there's 2 a year now. Like, that's the amazing.
You know what? Fuck it. That's a prediction. This year, both Rumbles will be won by a number that hasn't won before.
There's a bold prediction. You got to put a side bet on that, or?
Yeah, fuck it. We'll throw $5 at that.
I was gonna say you're not gonna skewer yourself on air for that, are you?
Nah. There's a pizza cutter next time.
Oh, for crying out loud! Just when we're about to be sponsored by Domino's. No. If you know, you know.
How dare you, Matt, on the day of our Little Caesar sponsorship?
And we just ordered from Pizza Hut. What are you doing? Zach actually wants to take the bet with you, so it's a side bet between you two.
Wait.
Both numbers. If both numbers have not won before, then you win you win the $5. But
Yay.
There you go. I think I'm safe on my chocolate syrup bet with JJ. I forget what his side of the bet was because that wasn't my responsibility. But I said if Jade Cargill, Julia, who else was it? Deanna and somebody else. And Deanna already signed with AEW, so I think I'm safe.
Yeah, you're a little safe there.
Yeah, so I feel like I've already won that bet. And who knows? We might get Mercedes tonight in Daly's place.
That'd be a crazy place to debut her.
It would be. Yeah. JJ says I already won because, I mean, Deanna's all elite, so I'm good. Not a concern whatsoever. But I am going to get ready to pull up Dynamite tonight. Please wait a moment. Try again. F you. There you go. He has to be El Renegado de la Lucha
Libre
of Open Mic Night. Yeah. So he's going to have to wear a mask for an entire episode of Open Mic Night. And you guys have to realize Open Mic Night is typically an hours-long show. This is 1 hour Wednesday. And Open Mic Night can go 3 or 4. So.
Oh, you know what, JJ? That's a wonderful idea.
That is a wonderful idea. I like that. Donate the $5 side bet
to the 988.
Yep. I think that's good.
Open Mic Night usually goes 4 hours. As somebody who has worn a mask for 45 minutes at one time, yes, those things get hot and steamy and gnarly.
So enjoy that, JJ, when that comes up on Open Mic Night. But the next couple weeks, especially for the Meacham Multiverse of Media, are going to be big. Next week is Luck at the Draw. Next Saturday, I'm going to be on Open Mic Night for The Price is Right. The following Wednesday is going to be the Rumble Draw, and then, of course, the Royal Rumble on the 27th. So it's going to be a big couple weeks here. It's going to be a lot of fun. So next week, Matty is going to be in his shower again. Where's Josh?
Getting eggs thrown at me.
Getting eggs thrown at you, getting water dumped over your head that's hopefully warm, and being covered in strawberry syrup and looking like he's part of the Brood. Or I guess bloodbath by the Brood.
I've got the like Edge style sunglasses that I can wear afterwards.
Perfect. All right, so thank you guys for joining us. Next week, Luck of the Draw. Tune in because it's going to be a blast, just like it always was. Let people know about this show. Share it wherever you can, because the more people to watch, the more fun stuff we can do for you guys like that. So until next week, for Matty Laws, Greg Cherry. Don't be a Jag. Don't be the Jags. And we'll see you next week on Luck of the Draw on the Greg Cherry Show. Have a good night.
Steelers going Super Bowl.
Yeah, they are.